Hi folks, and welcome to Antiques Tarot. I had a mini deck haul, and so the pickiest deck collector is going to tell you what me thinks of the decks that have come in. I had opportunity to, in the last little bit, order a number of decks, and so they will be coming in because, pre-orders, Kickstarter, indie decks, you don't necessarily get them right away. Now, two of the decks I got off Etsy, and so they came in pretty quickly. Both decks are made in Ontario. May North Market makes the Wild Witch Oracle in Ottawa, and Island Song makes the Positive Affirmation Oracle in Toronto or Taekwondo. And yeah, so they both came in paper envelopes. They both came tied and twined. They both came with small thank yous. Island Song comes on a fairly large deck. It is larger than a typical Oracle card, which, really absolutely makes it larger than a typical tarot card. It's a pretty sturdy matte cardstock. The backs of the deck are plain white and it has corners. Those would probably be my only issues with it. I could change that. And I will go through a few of the cards that I picked out to go through with you with later. The Wild Witch Oracle comes on a sort of medium weight papery cardstock. It reminds me of the feel of Star Spinner Tarot. It's a typical Oracle. Was this? No, it's slightly different than typical Oracle card size too. It is slightly shorter. It's a square. So I'm going to say it's probably yeah. I've been using this one. I got this one in early May, so I've been using this for a few weeks in my Oracle readings, and I will go through that also. Off of Etsy, but I connected with the creator in a Facebook group. This is Mystic Garbage, an Unusual Tarot by Junkyard Prince. And the creator is, I just want to make sure I get the name right. Yes, Melanie Baker. This is a cute, fun deck that hits hard. It comes in this sturdy box. It does come in like a non-recyclable bubble wrap, shrink wrapped, and a plastic sleeve. Colorful, sassy, and full of fire, Mystic Garbage is anything but trash with bold black ink over pastel rainbow watercolors. This deck puts you in for a wild ride, but be warned, not all unicorns are nice and not everything is as it seems. So I got these two decks just yesterday and have used once each, and I have a bigger reading for myself planned with this one tonight. It came with thank you cards and that, and it came with a personalized thank you card and also this really nice rock. We made a beautiful connection on Facebook. It was lovely. Two creators. It was awesome. Yeah, so those were those. I was gifted the Prisma Vision Oracle by James R. Eads. It comes in this box with this guidebook. Came with a seal. The guidebook's pretty in-depth. I'd seen some of the cards on Facebook and had commented that they were very nice, very pretty. They are The suits are a panorama, which I have found fascinating. I'll see if I can pull a few cards that are easy to see close together for effect, which I find fascinating. But the now it only makes a panorama in order, so it wouldn't likely make a it won't make a panorama in a reading. I've seen some that do, which I think is very brilliant. I haven't used this deck. The characters are 100% cis white het. I have a history of attempting to read with pretty art decks that are cis white het. And I go from, admiring the artwork to annoyed and pissed off that the creator's vision of a beautiful world only includes cis white het people. I haven't used it. I'll find somewhere to pass it on. So, let's get into the decks I'm using and excited to use. I'm not going to show all the cards. I'm going to show some of my favorites. To get an idea of the Wild Witch Oracle, I'm really impressed with the concepts and understandings of difficult, easy, clarity, darkness, like shadow. It does not... It's beautiful. So here we have, most of the cards are black backgrounds. There are some lighter colored cards. The Owl Witch, bringing you clarity and the ability to see what others may not. The Moon Witch, no matter what phase I am in, I am still whole. The Mud Witch, one of my favorites. It's okay, things aren't clear. It gives you time to make the right decision. The Children's Witch. You can slow down. The words are very clear on these. I do have to somewhat look for them. The Darkness Witch. Your spiritual womb, a place of pure relaxation. This is what I'm talking about. The Darkness Witch, which is about the spiritual place of our soul wounds. The Witch of Light, illuminating the right decision. What does light do? It illuminates things. That's all it does. It doesn't imply goodness or anything else. It just illuminates things. The Witch of Numerology, you can make sense of this. I just enjoyed the concept of this card. Brilliant. The Clarity Witch, knowing failure is opportunity. This is what I love about this deck. Did this deck have problems? Yes. We have the Smudge Witch. Depending who I'm reading for, depends on whether or not I leave this card in or remove it. I do not use this card for non-Indigenous folks. And if I did, I would probably use it as a symbol that they are participating in cultural appropriation within their spirituality and have some work to do, to say the least. So that is the Wild Witch Oracle. Those are my feels on it, my what makes me happy about it, what doesn't. And so overall, this deck gets high regards from me. There's very few actual people in the deck. Are the few people in the deck European? Turn half of it upside down, which makes it so hard to see. So it actually, for the most part, it's hard to tell. There's very few humans shown in the deck. So we're just going to take a quick look and review of human figures in the deck. Okay. This one is, you know, got a Eurocentric skin tone there. This one is just a drawing of a face. There's no skin tone. I'm going to say the features, what there is a nose, which is a fairly European, you know, scooped nose. The Nude Witch has nothing to indicate. Their background. The Wind Witch is peachish or it's gray. And this one is just hard to tell because it's dark. You know, I think there was little thought in this about issues of diversity, but it largely didn't impact the deck. So they get a pass. They get a pass on it. So this next deck, the Positive Affirmations, is by a black creator. There is nothing to indicate in this deck ethnic or racial backgrounds in the few in the deck. There's mostly just hands. There's sometimes a face. The writing is sometimes tricky to read due to the font. The universe will start to rearrange itself to make it happen for me. So these are positive affirmations. That is completely what we get within these cards. I allow happiness, I allow harmonious energies to heal me in this very moment. So there are certainly times I would really want to use this deck and times where I probably wouldn't. It is great for affirmations. Sometimes I use affirmation decks to wrap up a reading and leave the person with something to pick them up. I am a loving and powerful force in the world. The tones on the colors here are in shades of, which is so lost on here, unfortunately, yellows to embers, giving a gold-like appearance to them. I am creating a space for magic every second. I'm worthy of all the blessings coming my way. This could be a love and light deck if that's all you used. I radiate joy and vitality. But if it's part of a larger practice of various types of cards with, you know, range in the cards, I don't find that an issue. Alright, so let's look at Mystic Garbage. It comes in this cute little box, which I keep being like, where do I open it? It's a magnetic closure. It comes with a guidebook. The guidebook is enough. It's not extensive. Okay, folks, if you are new to tarot, you need more than a guidebook anyway. You just do. Even when you get a larger guidebook, you know, you should learn the meanings of a system. Thoth, Marseille, RWS. Learn the meanings of the cards within a system. Because, you know, books are rarely enough. Especially if it's based on a system that's already laid out. So, things I don't like about the guidebook. And this is my overall impression of the deck. And I want this to come out in a really good way. I'm going to start with their story. I was introduced to tarot after years of abuse. They go into that and the fallouts of living in abuse. One day a woman offered to do a reading for me. 3 of Wands, the World, Knight of Wands, the Page of Wands. The tarot told me of new beginnings were coming, happier times full of creativity, and that I had the potential to flourish. So I did. Now, 3 years since that reading, I finally created my own deck. Some cards are solemn and emotional, some might make you laugh or giggle, but each card comes from my heart. Okay, each card comes from their heart, and a understanding, lived experience of a reality that is my lived experience in life. The harsh realities of life on the bottom of that ladder of capitalism and society. I'm not going to argue where everyone's place is on that bottom, but that bottom section. And I see this raw understanding of the world in this deck in a way that I think makes this deck amazing. Amazing. The understanding of some of the cards in the guidebook, there's, this is somebody who's newer to tarot, 3 years, and they have grasped enough understanding to make a deck. But, there's certainly ways I see different cards differently anyway. Most readers do. I find some a stretch to the traditional understandings or, whatever. So, that said, I think that real world experience expressed within the cards is amazing, and more important necessarily than the books. Okay, so let's look at some of the cards I most want to get into and talk about and show here. So the Two of Swords is a person with a Rubik's Cube for a card about, clarity of thought. This is brilliant. There's a number of cards that have, heads, non-human heads, or heads made of objects. This is very common in this deck. There's very little, mostly humans are bodies. Anyway, the Four of Cups is brilliant, and, she talks about, do you see this as something being consumed or something being, like, puked out? And that gives context to the reading and how you see it as the Four of Cups, how you're going to read it verges on one of those two sides. Anyway, that's brilliant. The Knight of Wands has an eyeball for a head, and her explanation for this was pretty great. I'm going to find it because I underlined it for this. Okay. This card represents vision, passion, lust, energy, and impulsiveness, things that come from your eyes. Oh my God, yes, those are things that come from your eyes. And these are the things that make this deck amazing. The Nine of Cups is Medusa, and is often a symbol in shelters for abused women, and this is because Athena, gave Medusa the power for for her and her children to protect themselves against abusive men. The Four of Wands is a coven. Brilliant. The Five of Wands are two rabbits going at it. One's sort of annoyed you walked in, but they're going to take what they want anyway. The Five of Cups has a happy face over their face, hiding like their true self, their pain, their sadness. So the deck mostly has like fairly muscular sized bodies. Want to find an example. Fairly muscular sized bodies. There are two cards that represent ill health, in which case they are both overly thin, and this comes from the creator's personal life experience, and to be hitting the bottom and not thriving. And so I think that is Yeah. It's nice to see thinness represented as unhealthy. I say that as a thin person whose body size is mostly related to my poor mental health and poverty. Largely my poor mental health. And yeah, it's not healthy. And people want to say it is because it's easier than looking at the truth of it. Okay, so I was getting to these later. The Seven of Pentacles, again, brilliant. The Seven of Cups, eat your heart out. The Five of Pence, this animal's just taking a shit on everything. Seven of Swords, okay. They see this as a card of cheating. I don't see the Seven of Swords that way anyway, and unless necessary, I don't read, how to word this. People get cheated on, but, you know, a lot of times it's, as someone who's poly decolonizing relationships, I do see problems with a card that's all about cheating in sex. I understand the pain that goes with it. I'm probably going to read this card in ways, today I read this card in completely different ways, but like I said, I also read the Seven of Swords differently a lot of the time. The Page of Swords. So the pages are all children with an animal. I like it. The Justice card is a puppet. Okay, we're going to look at some majors here. The Hierophant is looking in a black mirror, and, you know, she talks about black mirror representing whatever your spirituality is. I do like the Hanged Man. You just have to let go for this next stage with his death. A possum. Brilliant. I love that Vanna White is the Wheel of Fortune, or a skeleton head Vanna White. The Sun, Moon, and Stars are recreated in the Three of Cups. I like it. This card is traditionally tied to the Empress, but I like this. Okay, so the Lovers, we have a, you know, transgender neutral intersex couple here. Can you see it clearly? Yeah. Great. I like this. I like this. And we see them again later on. We're going to get to it. But yet this is super gendered. Or body gendered. Then we have genitalia representing the Emperor and the Empress. I can work with it. The creator says, this is because the Emperor is a dick. Let's face it. Yes, I agree. Okay, so some cards I find difficult, a stretch, whatever. The Lovers are recreated on the King and Queen of Wands. I would have expected to see them in the King and Queen of Swords as, you know, they are Gemini energy. But, you know, there's also disagreement amongst some as to what elements represent what. So, also, whatever. They are passionate, set, and so they do make sense in the King and Queen of Wands also. The Three of Pentacles is a yin-yang symbol. I didn't really get it. Maybe I need to look at it again. Let's see. On this card, we see a yin-yang imagery symbolized by cats, different but in unison, creating a circle. The card's about teamwork. Okay, so, you know, this is about teamwork. I guess I don't get it when I look at this visually, but here's the thing. You know, this is best for somebody, this deck is best for folks with a bit of a solid foundation in tarot, and especially folks who want to read intuitively, don't need all the imagery in the cards, this deck works. You know, providing the images work for you, or you're just looking at the titles and hoping you get the message, or you're just straying off into whatever you see to make it work. I don't get the Eight of Cups as being strangled. I do and I don't. Yeah, in the Eight of Cups, you have to leave really bad shit behind. You do. Like, I get that. I think I do prefer an image that shows us at the point of walking away, because I do think that's the point of it. The Two of Pentacles is about balance, so the person's balancing life with a body they are not happy with. I can get there. I do find it a little bit of a stretch. The Three of Wands, transformation is part of the Three of Wands, so the butterfly does make sense. I do think more about foresight and stuff. Seven of Wands is a snake. I like this card. Seven of Wands is about perseverance, competition, and challenge. While snakes are small enough to be preyed, they make up for their size and strength, speed, and sometimes venom. They fight back no matter the size of their attacker. And so I wanted to wrap up with a card I like. I like this. And I like that we aren't going with bad snake. And yet I'm going to have to get my mind out of that head thought, even though, like, I really like that that's not where we're going at it. We're looking at the snake's power to look after themselves, protect themselves, get over their many hurdles in life, and, carry on. So, that's the deck, my folks. I'm really happy with it. I am. I do quite like it. I think it's a nicely made deck. I really do. It's got a very gentle, soft tone rainbow holographic feel in here. I feel like color-wise it's slightly different than the Kaleidodope. Kaleidodope does it too, but like I feel this one has like more white in it. Maybe not. Maybe it's just the same. I also feel like now that I've been using it for a while, it's not as there as it was. The holographic aspect to it. So, but it's nice. It shuffles really nicely. It's not as thick as, it's got more bend to it than a lot of matte cards. Like, it's got way more bend to it than, the Gentle Tarot, it's stiffer. This is a little bit more flex to it. So, let's shuffle these up and see what happens. What do we got? Okay. So, I am going to feel a sisterhood connection and joy and happiness with this deck. This deck is going to feed me up when I want that fun friend time read. It has a lighter edge to it than my other decks. Absolutely. I'm going to find that this deck sparks my imagination, which really just helps things come. It's going to be really good for me in that kind of situation. It's going to be great for readings in that way. There are some times where I'm just going to find that it's a bit of a struggle, like it's been hard for me. But I will, adjust and find my way and my voice within this tarot deck. And I think this tarot deck really leaves room for a lot of individual voice in here. And Six of Swords, there are going to be some things about this deck that I'm going to have to let go and leave behind in order to really connect to all those moments of inspiration. And that might be that I see some of the cards a little differently, and I'm going to need to let go of my understandings and interpretations of them for ones that fit this deck, which I can do. And so I had something else with that for a moment. I think this deck is also going to be good for, you know, when I want to let go. Here we see a couple holding each other and, like, you know, they've got to leave, they've got to separate. You have to move on to something healthy, right? And, you know, I happen to think, as I was originally flipping through this deck, that this deck is going to be particularly good for the types of relationship readings I do, the types that I really excel at. This deck is going to be really good for that and good for helping people through this kind of Six of Swords moments in their relationships. So, there we have it, folks. We have 3 decks that I'm really very happy with. Let's hold them this way. We have 3 decks that I'm really very happy with. And one I can't wrap my head around Cis White Het decks. I can't, I'm not going to keep trying in this life. It ends up not being worth the attempted journey for me. And that's, you know, something I've learned so far. And I could be, you know, twice the fool, and I could be twice the fool and decide that, you know, I'm just going to keep trying. I'm just going to put myself through these, you know, hopless fates all over again, even when I'm not the naive person standing on the cliff. I've been there before. I've been a good ways through this journey, going back to jump in and start such a journey over again would just be a matter of nothing learned. So this fool isn't going to jump back off this cliff. I'm going to find where that deck belongs. It's going to take me a moment. Reached out to my more local people because, you know, easier to ship it. Yet, so far nobody wants a Cis Het White deck in my friend circle. Which, you know, that's something I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to hear that my friends aren't reading tarot that way and are being conscious about where they're putting their money and their spiritual time and energy. So what can I say about that? How to argue that? Do I go out looking for somebody who's like, I want no diversity in my deck, or I don't care about diversity in my deck? It might be hard to connect, in which case I'd be looking at a less personal but more like marketplace kind of situation. Who knows? We'll see. Enjoy, folks. That's my review of my mini haul for now. My deck is both up on Kickstarter, Landback Tarot, and Oracle of Colonization on Kickstarter. If you search Landback Tarot as one word, you will find it. It's also, you know, in my links on Instagram and places, and you can also international order from my website, www.antiktarot.com, and /shop will take you to international pre-orders. You can check the drop-down menu. I think on the front page there's a Kickstarter link to that too. So it's out there. I'll try and remember to throw it in the comment box. See you later, folks.